This is CYU10, race scoring. You're going to be writing an essay, so you should probably know how it's going to be scored. It's going to be scored based on three major components. The first of which is content. Are you answering the question that's being asked? Are you providing support for your response? Focus. Are you staying on track? Are you answering exactly what is being asked? Are you only talking about things that are supporting your response? And clarity. Am I able to understand what you're writing? Is what you're writing coming across clear as day? I am now going to read a sample essay response to the open-ended question that you're going to be answering. Which came through the door, the lady or the tiger? Please note that this is a college-level response. I'm obviously not looking for something nearly as thorough and robust as this, but this is a good guide to help you understand the type of information that I might be looking for as you write your essay. The student that wrote this response is answering the question, what came through the door, the lady or the tiger? Can you determine which he thinks comes through the door? In the short story, The Lady or the Tiger by Frank R. Stockton, there lived a semi-barbaric king who devised a way to both entertain himself and his people, while at the same time portioning out poetic justice to those accused of a crime. The system was simple. The accused party was paraded into a crowded arena and told to choose between two doors. Behind one lurked a hungry tiger, and behind the other a fair maiden, to which the accused would be wed, if, by chance, he chose her door. Ironically, the king's daughter was caught in an unlawful love affair, and as a result, her lover would be tried within the arena. The princess made it her business to discover which lay behind each of the two doors, and thus controlled the fate of her lover. So now the princess must choose between permitting her lover to be wed to another woman, or barbarously being torn to shreds by a tiger. However, at the end of the short story, the author leaves the reader with no resolution. Instead, Stockton poses the question to the reader, which came out of the opened door, the lady or the tiger? Though there is evidence that the princess will be jealous if her lover is summarily wed to the maiden, it would be more accurate to come to the realization that no human with the love and passion felt by the princess for her lover could pronounce upon the same a vicious sentence of death. In this short story, Stockton introduces us to a wildly passionate and self-important princess who would never allow another to decide her fate, even her own father. Quote, the semi-barbaric king had a daughter as blooming as his most florid fancies, and with a soul as fervent and imperious as his own. The princess was so determined to follow her own path in life and make her own decisions that she unlawfully engaged in an affair with a man below her station, and when he was sentenced to face the judgment of chance within the arena, she subverted her father's laws in order to determine, to some degree, her own future. The story's narrator tells the reader the following. Possessed of more power, influence, and force of character than anyone who had ever been interested in such a case, the princess had done what no other person had done. She had possessed herself of the secret of the doors. She knew in which of the two rooms that lay behind those doors stood the cage of the tiger with its open front, and in which waited the lady. The princess would not allow her father or chance to decide her lover's fate. The decision would be hers and hers alone, though she had to choose between two unsavory choices. For the sake of her lover, a courtier to the king, she undoubtedly chose to spare his life. It is this great love for the king's courtier that allows the princess to truly live and sparks a flame in her soul, where she and her lover have stitched an eternal bond. Stockton describes the princess as being well satisfied with her lover, for he was handsome and brave to a degree unsurpassed in all this kingdom. And she loved him with an ardor that had enough of barbarism in it to make it exceedingly warm and strong. And when a pair has such a deep connection as the princess and her lover, they often share a bond so deep that they know each other's thoughts and feelings. The princess's lover saw, by that power of quick perception which is given to those whose souls are one, that she knew behind which door crouched the tiger and behind which stood the lady. He had expected her to know it. If two people have such a close connection, how can one arbitrarily seek to tear and rip at the threads that bind them? The result is the death of both parties, if not in the flesh, then within the soul. So when the princess bought the secret of the doors for the price of gold, the princess's lover understood such matters of the heart, and when she directed him to the right, without the slightest hesitation, he went to the door to the right and opened it, knowing that his life was not in jeopardy. It is with no doubt that the princess in this story would be jealous and troubled by the marriage between her lover and the fair maiden. However, the pain of knowing that she would be responsible for sending her lover to his brutal and vicious death at the jaws of a hungry tiger would be unbearable. Stockton describes how often, in her waking hours and in her dreams, had she started in wild horror and covered her face with her hands at the thought of her lover opening the door on the other side of which waited the cruel fangs of the tiger. Contrast this with the possibility of seeing her lover alive within the kingdom, sharing glances and possibly even dances. So, just as a garment ripped apart is useless, the princess knew that she could not betray the love of her soul. She immediately chose to spare his life and waited until they would once again be together in the blessed regions of semi-barbaric futurity. So this is just a sample passage. This is an example essay of what you could write and how it could be supported. This obviously would score incredibly high, almost a perfect score, in response to the open-ended question, which came through the door, the lady or the tiger?